Abu Jahl, the father of wisdom, died as father of arrogance. How could a man so brilliant be so blind? Just as Pharaoh opposed Prophet Musa, Abu Jahl became the fiercest enemy of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He was a symbol of arrogance, cruelty, and blind pride. A man who vowed to extinguish the light of Islam before it could spread across Arabia. Born as Amr ibn Hisham ibn al-Mughira from the powerful Banu Makhzum clan, Abu Jahl belonged to one of the most influential tribes of Makkah. The Makhzum tribe was respected for its strength, leadership, and responsibility in defending the city. Raised in wealth and authority, Abu Jahl grew up surrounded by luxury, influence, and honor. His father, Hisham ibn al-Mughira, was a wealthy merchant and a respected leader among Quraysh, known for trade caravans that crossed the Arabian Peninsula and brought immense riches to Makkah. From a young age, Abu Jahl was recognized for his sharp intelligence, eloquent speech, and commanding personality. He learned reading, writing, poetry, and public speaking, becoming a prominent figure in Makkah's political and social affairs. Tribal honor, family reputation, and the traditions of his ancestors meant everything to him. He strongly believed that the old order of Makkah had to remain untouched. To Abu Jahl, the idols inside the Kaaba were not merely objects of worship. They represented the economic and political stability of Makkah. Pilgrims from every corner of Arabia traveled to the Kaaba, bringing wealth and trade to the city. Any threat to idol worship, therefore, became a threat to the entire power structure of Quraysh. Then came the moment that changed history. After receiving revelation inside the cave of Hira, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, began calling people toward the worship of one Allah, rejecting idols and calling for justice, equality, and truth. The message shook the hearts of Makkah's leaders. Among them, Abu Jahl became one of Islam's most relentless enemies. He feared that Islam would destroy his influence, weaken tribal pride, and collapse the social system that kept Quraysh in power. At first, he dismissed the Prophet's message. But as Islam spread rapidly, especially among the youth, slaves, and women, his concern turned into fury. Abu Jahl became the mastermind behind the persecution of Muslims. He organized boycotts, inflicted economic pressure, and encouraged brutal torture against anyone who embraced Islam. Among the earliest victims were Sumayya bint Kayat and Yasir ibn Amir, remembered forever as the first martyrs of Islam. Their family accepted Islam together and endured unbearable torture for refusing to abandon their faith. Abu Jahl himself tortured Sumayya, demanding that she reject Islam, but her faith remained unshaken. Enraged by her courage, he killed her with a spear, making her the first martyr in Islamic history. Yasir too was tortured and killed, yet their patience became a symbol of strength for future generations of Muslims. Another victim of this oppression was Bilal al-Habashi, the Abyssinian slave of Umayyah ibn Khalaf. When Bilal accepted Islam, the leaders of Makkah, including Abu Jahl, burned with anger. Bilal was dragged onto the scorching desert sands, massive stones placed upon his chest while he was left starving and thirsty beneath the blazing sun. Yet through the agony, he continued repeating one powerful word, Ahad, Ahad, one, declaring the oneness of Allah. His resistance echoed through the streets of Makkah and became legendary in Islamic history. Later, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh purchased Bilal's freedom and released him from slavery. But Abu Jahl's hatred was not limited to the followers of Islam. He directly targeted Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him himself. His mission became destroying the Prophet's reputation and silencing his message forever. One day, while the Prophet, peace be upon him, was praying peacefully near the Kaaba, Abu Jahl and his companions carried the filthy stomach of a slaughtered camel and threw it upon his back. It was a moment of deep humiliation and sorrow for the Muslims. Young Fatima radiallahu anha rushed to her father, removing the filth while tears streamed from her eyes. Yet even in that painful moment, the Prophet, peace be upon him, remained calm, patient, and steadfast, turning only to Allah in prayer and trust. Abu Jahl continued his campaign of humiliation against Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, mocking him publicly and trying to destroy his reputation among the people of Makkah. He called the Prophet a magician, a poet, and even a madman, hoping people would see the message of Islam as worthless. Yet despite every accusation, the honesty, noble character, and trustworthiness of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, were already deeply known among the people. Ironically, many of Abu Jahl's attacks only caused more hearts to turn toward Islam. As the number of Muslims grew, Abu Jahl and the leaders of Quraysh enforced a brutal boycott against the believers and the family of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This painful period, remembered as the boycott of Sheb Abi Talib, lasted for 3 long years. Muslims were forced to live outside Makkah, cut off from trade, business, and even marriage ties. Hunger spread through the camp like a shadow. The cries of starving children echoed through the valleys, and some people survived only by eating leaves from trees. Yet even in the darkness of suffering, the believers refused to abandon their faith. Eventually, a few people among Quraysh felt shame and compassion, tearing apart the agreement and bringing the boycott to an end. Despite witnessing the patience and resilience of Muslims, Abu Jahl's pride blinded him from accepting the truth. It is said that one night near the Kaaba, he secretly listened to the Quran being recited by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The beauty and power of the verses deeply moved him. For a moment, his heart recognized something extraordinary, but his pride chained him. He reportedly admitted to some companions, "I know what Muhammad says is true, but I cannot become equal to him." Instead of softening him, this inner conflict only increased his hatred. Even after the Muslims migrated to Medina, Abu Jahl refused to stop. As tensions rose around the trade caravans of Quraysh, rumors spread that one led by Abu Sufyan could be intercepted by Muslims. Abu Jahl seized the moment and gathered the army of Makkah, pushing strongly for war, while some leaders hesitated. He convinced them that Islam threatened the honor, trade, and survival of Makkah, promising wealth and victory if they crushed the Muslims once and for all. With arrogance and confidence, the Meccan army marched toward Badr. The Battle of Badr became one of the greatest turning points in Islamic history. Though the Muslims were far fewer in number, their faith and determination shook the army of Quraysh. Abu Jahl stood as commander of the Meccan forces, delivering speeches filled with pride before the battle began. But among the Muslims were young warriors who had heard of his cruelty and oppression and vowed to bring him down. After fierce fighting under the desert sun, Abu Jahl fell wounded upon the battlefield. Later, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu found him lying injured on the ground. He asked, "Where is your arrogance now? Did Allah not disgrace you?" Even in his final moments, Abu Jahl's pride remained unbroken. He replied with arrogance, regretting only that someone he considered weak had defeated him. These final words revealed that his arrogance survived until his last breath. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud confirmed his death, and the fall of Abu Jahl became a major victory for Islam. The loss shattered the morale of Quraysh and weakened their efforts to stop the spread of the new faith. For the Muslims, Badr became a moment of hope, strength, and proof that victory comes from Allah, even when believers appear weak and outnumbered. Interestingly, not all members of Abu Jahl's family followed his path forever. Some eventually embraced Islam and became honored figures in Muslim history. His son, Ikrimah ibn Abi Jahl, once fought fiercely against Islam just like his father. But after the conquest of Makkah, his heart changed. He accepted Islam sincerely and later became one of its brave defenders, eventually attaining martyrdom in the Battle of Yarmouk. His brother, Harith ibn Hisham, also accepted Islam after initially opposing it and later helped spread the faith. Their transformation became a powerful sign that Islam could soften even the hardest hearts. Today, Abu Jahl is remembered as one of the greatest symbols of arrogance, oppression, and denial in Islamic history. The title Abu Jahl, meaning father of ignorance, was not given because he lacked intelligence, but because he knowingly rejected the truth out of pride and stubbornness. Though his real name was Amr ibn Hisham, history remembers him by the title that reflected his character. While the Quran does not directly mention his name, many scholars connect verses about arrogant disbelievers and those who prevent others from worshipping Allah to figures like Abu Jahl. In Surah Al-Alaq, the Quran speaks of a man who tried to stop prayer, and many interpret this as referring to him. Similarly, Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas remind believers to seek Allah's protection from the evil of people driven by hatred and arrogance. The life of Abu Jahl stands as a timeless lesson that pride can blind a person so completely that even when truth becomes clear before their eyes, they still refuse to follow it. Abu Jahl was not a man who lacked intelligence. Deep inside, he recognized the truth carried by the message of Islam, yet the chains of pride held his heart captive. His arrogance became the very force that dragged him toward destruction. While he clung to status and tribal honor, the Muslims stood firm with patience and faith, enduring suffering until victory finally arrived. Their resilience during the darkest days became a timeless mark of honor in history, while oppression and tyranny eventually collapsed under their own weight, just as Abu Jahl's cruelty led to his downfall. Abu Jahl's story is remembered not just as the story of an enemy of Islam, but as a warning about arrogance, pride, and the refusal to accept truth. Instead of understanding the message of Islam, he allowed power and stubbornness to blind him. His life teaches Muslims to avoid arrogance and learn from the struggles of the early believers. His rise and fall also reflect a timeless pattern in history. Those driven by pride and tyranny eventually face the consequences of their choices, while truth endures.